What's going to happen? What are we going to talk about? I don't know. But this is the OSMcast anyways. Hi, folks, and welcome to the Chainsaw Buffet. No, we're not. Only kind of.
Only mostly.
Only mostly. This is the OSMcast, the podcast for everything awesome. I am ostensibly your host for this one, Basil, but with me are the two wonderful guys from the Chainsaw Buffet, John.
Hey!
And Babushka.
I noticed, I'm going to point this out, but I noticed you tagged the last podcast where you put that, where you introduced me as such, as Babushka, so I guess there's nothing I can do about this, is there?
Nope.
This is just a thing that's going to keep happening.
There are multiple spellings of Babushka. I had to research that. But, hi, Dylan. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
That sounds about par for the course. So yeah, so the episode, I'm going to call it, I don't know, when planning is few, impromptu will do. As this is I realized I don't have a podcast ready for Monday, and we need something. So I put out the awesome signal, and these two wonderful gentlemen answered the call.
So what you're saying is we've outpaced the manga and this is filler.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Or, alternatively, we ran out of budget. And so we're doing a recap episode. We're not doing a recap episode. No, you're right. We ran out of manga, so now this is filler.
I was about to say, otherwise this whole podcast stuff be done in Crayola marker.
Yeah, or we'll just cut other podcasts together. Hey, remember when we talked about that thing? Yeah, wasn't that great? Woo, there's still audio equivalent of the dream effect, but
is it not? It's kind of sad that while that's possible, I feel doing that is more work than just talking about something else.
It is.
That may be something to work on for like April Fools, though. Is just do like a clip show.
I feel like we're the opposite of real legitimate, journalism and entertainment, where the talent costs more than the, or
production.
Yeah. Well, it's probably not true, but it's probably more costly for the talent than the production.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't think any of us is making money, but we're certainly spending money.
That's for damn sure.
It's a time thing more than a money thing, I think, at this point.
Look, if I didn't enjoy talking with people to a microphone and putting it on the internet, I wouldn't be doing it. Somehow this is fun.
We're sure not doing it for the women.
No, that was just a bonus.
Yeah.
I was going to say you're married, so
whatever.
If you're doing this for the women, and Jen, is Jen in there while you're recording?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, there are absolutely no real plans. We're just gonna talk until we're done talking. So how's it going, gentlemen? How are y'all doing? How's everything? How's stuffs?
Doing reasonably well. I mean, still breathing, so I guess that's something. I mean, crippling debt and depression, but whatever. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
It's Friday, so
it's Friday, something, dark side.
That's cool. Yeah, it's about the same here. It's I don't know,
slightly fried, from
Smoking too much weed.
No, from work.
Oh.
Is your work smoking too much weed?
No. In fact, I couldn't. I did have to have a random drug test. Was it this week? The last couple of weeks have blurred together. I think it was this week.
So that means you're good now.
Yeah.
No. And you know what? No.
Dylan, drug-free is the way to be.
It is. It is.
It is so much cheaper. I don't care how it affects your body. It's cheaper because you're not spending money on it.
Wow. That makes perfect sense. And yet it's so weirdly utilitarian that it's almost, there's something cynical about it. Like,
look, I've got too many video games to buy and not play.
Right?
To spend it on no drugs.
Are you saying that video games are your anti-drug?
No.
I'm saying lack of money and love of video games is this anti-drug. Like I'm sure if he could afford it, he'd probably have, a pretty substantial, coke habit, but
no, that'd be too much effort. I'd rather just have a really substantial, beer and wine collection.
Yeah, although again, those are not generally considered hard drugs. At least consuming them in moderation.
I don't know. You say that, but they come in bottles, and bottles can be pretty hard.
It's true. And the pills aren't exactly soft. I mean, they're not like, children's chewables or anything.
Yeah. But, a good, bag of weed can be pretty soft.
As opposed to a wine. Well, see, here's your problem. You're buying your wine in bottles instead of boxes.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
If we learned anything from our first recording together, talking to Spike Spencer, it's that the true connoisseur does drink by the box.
Oh.
But yeah, speaking of video games, there's been a bunch that has come out. Phoenix Wright just hit the other day, and actually yesterday or the day before. And in Japan, so did the new Blaze Blue game, I think.
Yeah, Chrono Phantasma.
Did you? I don't know if you play that. Did you download it?
No.
Did you get off the good old Nippon Japanese?
No, I'll support the English voice actors and buy the game in 2014. Although, if you're in the Nashville area on Sunday. Over at Game Galaxy, they're doing King of the Bling this weekend, and Saturday they're doing Marvel and Street Fighter and Injustice. Sunday they're doing I think Persona and Guilty Gear, and I think somebody's going to have a copy of Chrono Phantasma over there. So
too bad we update this on Monday,
right? But it'll be there. So,
but I would imagine that people can find out more about it potentially on the Chance of Buffet podcast.
Possibly. Because also check out Game Galaxy's Twitter at Game Galaxy, I think, or Game_Galaxy. It's one of those. Let me check. Yeah, it's Game_Galaxy. And, you can check those guys out. I head out there every so often, not regularly, because it's a 3-hour drive and some old bullshit, but whatever.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that putting sort of a cramp on things.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get some heavy breathing out.
Yeah, let me do my chat impression here. Let me get right under my nuts.
Sorry, I'm guessing that was me, wasn't it?
I don't know.
No, I was actually I was breathing kind of hard. I'm like, oh god, what if it picks up? I don't know. I don't want to chat it up.
Oh, guys, let's make this a cruelty-free podcast.
You keep saying that, and it keeps not happening.
Chat, if you listen, there's a mute button. I'm looking at it right here. Sort of hover your mouse on Skype right above where the chat is near the bottom. And there's a mute your microphone button and an ads and share button and an in call button. What you want to click is mute your microphone when you're not talking.
Also, while we're on the subject, if you have to step away during a recording or something like that, and you come back, when you put in your headset, one, make sure it's still muted, and two, just listen to whatever is being said and wait, and then just jump into the conversation. Don't just put on your headset and go hello, because that's a thing that does not need to happen when you're recording a podcast.
I kind of feel like this is the spot in the breakout with all the times and stuff that you guys do now that we should do, like lecturing other podcasters. That's what it should be labeled. Oh.
Man, I don't even know how we're going to freaking time code this thing, because this is going to be so random and like, well, let's talk about this thing now.
This is why we don't time code on our podcast, because this is what you get.
Because we enjoy having sanity and
being lazy as shit.
That too, but I'm guessing if we had started doing that, it was already hard enough when we were pulling out random quotes, which is what we did in the early days.
Yeah, when I started, doing a lot more on, the editing and uploading side, a lot of that shit just went away.
Yeah.
It's like, nope.
I think it had gone away before that, when we also realized that was probably not a good way to sell an episode.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But yeah, I have been playing the new Phoenix Wright game on my Nintendo 3-dimensional portable entertainment system.
Not on the 2DS, which is also just known as a DS.
We are not having this discussion, guys. We can have any number of other discussions about Nintendo, but we are not having this discussion.
No, we're not going to talk about the DS that doesn't fucking close.
Not having this discussion.
Can we talk about how the cornered theme from Phoenix Wright may be the hypest music of all time?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
that is
it
acceptable.
Like
man,
that is the Attack on Titan opening of video game themes. Like, just everything is more exciting with it.
Yeah, well, the Phoenix Wright just has Ace Attorney has a great soundtrack.
Agreed.
Just in general. So does Ghost Trick. Also for the DS, not the 2DS, but the original DS, which makes sense because it's by the creator of Ace Attorney. It was his game that he decided to do that wasn't Ace Attorney.
It was his. Look, I've got all this Phoenix Wright monies. Let's try something new.
And it was a really good game that sadly they never made a second one of, because he went on to then direct the Phoenix Wright / Layton crossover game that we're getting next year, which is really weird.
Like, I never really did understand why Professor Layton was as big of a deal as it was.
Well, just the game came out like a year or two ago in Japan. Like, at this point, it's kind of an old game. Whereas Phoenix Wright 5, this newest one, came out in Japan in July, and we just got it now.
Right.
So there was a very quick turnaround for this particular game. But the Layton Phoenix Wright crossover game doesn't come out in the US until sometime next year. And it's going to be really weird playing it because the graphics are obviously for the 3DS a couple of years ago. And the graphics for this new Phoenix Wright game is, the 3DS now. And there is a difference.
I am not disputing that there's a difference, but let's be honest here. Are you really playing, Phoenix Wright or Professor Layton for the graphics?
Partially.
Okie doke.
Well, there's one of those things where they're both using polygonal models to replace sprite work. And
it's supposed to look like a sprite, look like pixel art.
Right. Now, and it's just one of those things where you look at, older, look at older 360 games and 360 games now.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell that there is a definite improvement in, the ability to make use of the system. And it is going to be weird to see this new Phoenix Wright game, which frankly does an amazing job of taking polygonal models and making it look like the old sprite-based video games, only in HD. Is the effect? It's really the effect that it sort of has.
That sounds similar to what a lot of the Arc System Work fighting games do, because those are, if I remember correctly, those are 3D models with, the 2D artwork modeled over them. They use the 3D models basically for the hit boxes and the hurt boxes of all the characters and their attacks, and then they just put the 2D over it.
What they did with this one is it's very much, they are completely 3D models, but the way they build the models is in the same style as the old 2D artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're still, the way they've designed it for the camera angles and everything to look, it looks super similar to the sprite work, but it's much more detailed and it's much cleaner looking. And so even though the 3DS is not in HD at all, it gives you the effect that it's like, this is a next generation Phoenix Wright game.
Yeah. Well, I've seen cartoons that kind of do that they're going for the animated look but they're actually in 3D, and that's always kind of weird because it looks like the old school graphic or, the artwork or graphics or whatever, but the 3D effect just makes it look kind of wrong.
Well, the biggest issue with a lot of 3D anime is it's, you take, video animation, which can go at a super high frame rate, and they instead try to cut that same computer animation at like the 24 frames per second that anime is cut in. And because computer graphics are not designed to look that way, you instead get this really weird, choppy look to it that looks all wrong because it is wrong. And that's also the reason why a lot of CG in anime, especially like 2D and CG, like, try to, put together, can look really off many times, is because they're trying to mask the 3D by cutting it the same frame rate as the actual more traditional animation, and it just looks extra jarring because of it.
Can I just go out on a limb and say that there is nothing worse than some like early 2000 era anime as far as just aesthetics? Because you go from sort of the gritty, hand-drawn 90s anime to here's some really awful, we're really just trying this out for the first time, CG overlapping some really kind of weird-looking computer-based 2D art as well.
It doesn't blend nicely the way they kind of have learned to do it now. It was kind of like the first CG movies were really jarring because, it was just like, look at this cool thing.
Yeah, they do a much better job of it today than they did, 10, 13 years ago. It's just like, oh my god, I can't watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, I'm trying to think of some specific examples, but I think I've blocked a lot of them from memory.
I want to say that Cowboy Bebop had certain things in space were like that.
Yeah,
and
like
of
the
course,
gates and stuff.
It's like the one thing you don't remember because everything else about the show was good, and it was stuck off, like in the corner. It wasn't like major scenes that were using this, which was smart. But
yeah, I mean, Cowboy Bebop has one of the best final scenes, in my opinion. I don't think there are too many that'll argue that. But can you imagine if they just, threw some god-awful CG in, when Spike's, kicking a grenade down an escalator and some shit?
That just sounds like a scene that needs the camera rotating every which way.
Exactly.
To follow it.
Yeah. Thank God that show came out, right at the same time as the first Matrix movie, or maybe a little bit beforehand, so that they didn't fall into any of that crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to see if maybe I look up some early animes or anime. I'm sorry, people get mad when you go animes. And I don't even mean to do that, just it happens sometimes. But
is there a right pluralization for that? Are we?
It technically is anime. Anime is
Okay.
singular and plural.
Yes. But Japanimation, that the plural of that is Japanimations.
But potentially, but if it's just like your Japanese anime, that is again singular or plural.
I just wanted to say Japanimation because nobody said that since like 1994.
Well, you also have Japtoons.
That
sounds extremely racist.
Look, I'm not saying it's all slants or anything here, but
speaking of which, shout out to those guys.
Man, you know what the sad thing is? I never realized that the name the slants was a racial thing at all, even remotely, until this year. I was like, oh, they're called the slants. Well, that's a geometric shape, sort of. It's kind of like a hyphen. I see that as sort of a kitschy thing. Okay,
yeah, you don't even think about it.
I mean, it's not one of the more in your face slurs.
Well, the term itself, I don't think is one that's commonly used as a slur. I think it's part of other in conjunction with other parts of the body. I think it's how it's more traditionally used as far as being a slur.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never even realized that. Oh, right, because Asians have quote unquote slant eyes.
Yes,
as a thing. Oh,
yeah.
But I've known about them for years, and I've never once thought, oh, hell yes, slants, because they're Asian, therefore they have slant eyes or whatever. That's what they call it, the slants. I just thought it was a kitschy name until this year, and I heard they were trying to fight this and stuff. And
yeah, they've been doing it for years. But I'll be honest, I got I don't know, it's a little emotional in a way because now Simon did an interview with Time. There's an article online, and I think he said that there's CBS News is going to run a piece on Saturday. And it's just kind of crazy because along with the Manpower, Simon was the first interview we ever recorded. Because we decided we're gonna do an interview with the Manpower, and then Chris was like, "Hey, Simon from the Slants is gonna be there. You want me to talk to him and see if he'd be willing to do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be great if he'd be willing to ask him." And he did, and because of just logistics, we ended up recording with Simon first. So hearing him do interviews for NPR and Time and all this other stuff after we interviewed him way back in the day, it's like, wow.
Well, see, now
surprised though, because
now what you need to do is get him back
right
after it's all over and be like, so how does it feel to be on Time and CNN and now you're back on motherfucking Chainsaw Buffet?
Well, it's kind of funny because I was sharing some of the links and on Facebook, I made a comment. I'm like, well, they certainly come a long way from doing reviews on Chainsaw Buffet. And Simon commented, he said, we'd much rather talk to you guys. He's like, we appreciate you guys. You were there from the beginning, and it's much more fun to talk to you guys than it is to talk to Time or anyone else, which I appreciated.
So, well, you need to get him back on so we can say that on air and be like, yeah, that's right. You can be on Time. Or you can be on CB.
That's right. Well, I think it'd be interesting to do it now because I think we're better interviewers now than we were when we had them on years ago. Or at least I hope so. I hope to God we're better interviewers now.
Well, you could also, you have a really good chance to do things like, okay, we talked to you so long ago. How are you doing now? What's different? What are some of the big things that has happened to you that, has really changed you and over the times, and perhaps you'll have something that you can be like, oh yes, it's something similar happened to us because we've also changed over time. Like you could have a really good conversation with that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing to do, especially if they come back to MTAC or something.
Well, they could certainly use some love, MTAC. And this year is MTAC in love.
It's true.
And we know how MTAC loves nothing but bands all the time. Bands, bands, bands.
Bands that make her dance.
Like, man. So, yeah, MTAC, they're back in a hotel. Or just a hotel.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing.
It's weird, but I'm pretty okay with it when I discovered that it's a big-ass hotel.
Well, yeah.
It's a freaking ginormous hotel.
It kind of has to be at this point.
Well, it's a hotel, and I hear while there are less rooms in the hotel, the event space is pretty equal to what they had already last year, or this year.
Yeah, and the impression I got from why they moved, just, it would have to be. This wasn't, I imagine this wasn't something they did lightly.
Oh, yeah, well, I feel it's a case of, they were like, okay, we're in this place. Wait, there's a new place that's even bigger. Well, that's cool. Wait, our place is getting partially shut down to renovate. Oh, okay, well, the new place is, holy crap, you want how much money? How much? Or at least I would imagine. I don't know anything at all.
Right.
But I would imagine a brand new, shiny, glass-filled convention center is not cheap.
No.
Especially since it's brand new, talk of the town, Nashville's shiniest thing.
Nashville is a city of shiny things.
And this is the new shiniest thing.
Yes.
Oh, man, guys, I had cupcakes from a food truck yesterday. It was amazing. I had a cupcake that was chocolate, and the frosting was partially made from a stout beer. Oh, my God. It was amaze balls.
I want to start a food truck that is designed to look very similar but legally distinct from the Turtle Van. And everyone wears, colored bandanas and stuff.
Right, but you had to serve pizza, right?
Oh, yes, that is the point.
Wow.
Like, you'd have to serve pizza, and obviously it'd be all pizzas with various, cereal toppings.
I think I would call it Ninja Pizza Home of the Nice Slice, which is a reference to the very first episode of the old 80s cartoon.
I kind of feel like this idea would work best if it were not like a shiny good ripoff, but a sad ripoff, like the type you would see in like an amusement park or something like that. Like,
let's be honest, Dylan. Anything that I'm going to be involved with professionally will be a sad endeavor.
No, but trying to rip off Ninja Turtles, that would take some work.
Fat dude in his 30s ripping off an old cartoon. What is not sad about that? Let's be honest, Dylan.
Wow.
I'm not sure if that's sad or normal, actually.
I
mean, when we get right down to it.
It's performance art.
I'm pretty sure that's just Tuesday.
Thanks, Madison.
I think that's just Tuesday. Although, if you think about it, you really probably should do all your pizzas as cereal toppings, but you should have, the Ninja Special.
Where are my ninjas at?
And it should just be a random, you should have, 5 or 6 boxes of, things, and it's randomized on what actual cereal topping you get.
I love it.
I should tell that to Michelle. She's debating on opening a restaurant. That could be one of her things. She'll be like, no, Basil, that doesn't actually make money, and shut up. But that's an idea.
It's an idea in 3/4.
Ninja Pizza. You take out the cereal and it might work. There's a pizza place in Farragut called I think it is just Mario's Pizza, and they have ads on one of the local radio stations. It's like the Super Mario Special, and it's clearly sound effect chiptune sort of music.
Is it a mushroom pizza? Because it should be.
I don't think it is, but it's definitely the radio commercial is definitely a reference to Super Mario Brothers.
Well, don't forget the Naruto restaurant in Auburn.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
There is a
my
restaurant,
God.
and I'm pretty positive that this restaurant has probably been around before the anime, at least they knew existed. Since Naruto is an actual thing, it's like fish cakes.
Is that still a thing? I mean, is that still going on? Have they not, become Hokages or whatever?
Yes.
Have they not found One Piece? I'm not sure what's going on.
I picked my gigantic unending series, John, and it was One Piece. You can only have one. Otherwise, you drive yourself crazy.
You can also just have zero.
I was about to say mine was Kenshin and Yu Yu Hakusho, and I collected both of those series, and I'm okay with that. Like I don't want to tackle I don't want to do the 10-year One Piece challenge. I'm trying to make my way through that Fishman arc that you and Patrick suggested.
How's that going?
Well, I haven't gotten very far, to be perfectly honest with you. It's like I said, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I watched an episode. I'm like, okay, I'll come back to this, and then a bunch of other shit happened, and I haven't gotten around to watching the rest of it. But I will.
Okay.
Man, I'm so glad I didn't take that challenge.
So your challenge, Dylan,
No,
is you should start watching Hunter x Hunter, the new one. Because I guess that is my I actually now have two because I'm watching that. It's only now 100 episodes so far. Maybe 101.
No. Don't say only. It's now
longer than Yu Yu Hakusho. So.
Well, I mentioned it because it's by the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho. But this one is much more of his magnum opus. This is his great work that he's been trying to do over years and years and years and years.
I thought it was Bleach. Oh wait, no, somebody else just ripped off Yu Yu Hakusho. My bad.
And Hunter x Hunter is really good, and the new version of it is more of a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood take on
so
it.
that means it sucks.
No, that sounds like you're an asshole, but
Well,
it does suck.
I am that.
Chainsaw Buffet. We hate everything.
It's true.
But what I mean is it's much more of a faster paced show. And for me, since I never watched the original version of it,
good and bad, depending on.
They also take out all the filler arcs. Like all you're getting is the actual manga stuff. And if I remember correctly, I think the last time they did Hunter x Hunter, they just ended on the last story arc that was in existence.
Yeah.
And they didn't, suddenly go, well, okay, actually, there's another world, and another world is pre-Nazi Germany.
And once we get done with it, then we'll come back and resume.
And alchemy is dead soldiers, and eventually dead Jews. That's what alchemy is.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I'm like.
And then there's reverse transmutation circles, and then when Egg gets his regular arm back, he's able to do super alchemy because that's how alchemy works.
I will be honest, because there was less power creep, and because I saw the original series when I watched Brotherhood, it's like, man, this is going way too fast and things are getting way too crazy. But I'm not. That's what I meant. Like, faster paced is not necessarily preferable. It kind of depends. But
it was one of those things where watching Brotherhood. I know we're getting off topic from Hunter x Hunter, but
I don't think we had a topic. So
it's true.
It's cool.
But watching Brotherhood, I was like, okay, I'm on board with the pace kind of being fast because those first 13 episodes, I've already seen that. I know what's going on. I know what I'm getting into. And then they started getting into the homunculi, and I'm like, well, they're different, and I kind of liked the mechanics of how they worked in the original series better. But I'm like, you know what, it's fine, I can deal with it. But towards the end, where there was just like random mechanics being introduced, just Deus Ex Machina everywhere, and in that final episode, I mean, the final episode really just lost me. I was like, you know what, no, Ed is doing like raging towers of alchemy here. And why couldn't he have done it 5 minutes ago? Was he not properly motivated? Because of this entire ordeal he's been through. Now he's, doing outrageous shit. I mean, it's like, no, he's not Super Saiyan 4 now. This is not how this was supposed to work.
I'll be honest. I've kind of I will turn on Adult Swim in the background on Saturday nights and stuff like that. I'm not watching it the way I used to.
Nope.
And that's okay. I'm not pissed off at it because there's actually plenty of, short, good series out there. Actually, Hunter x Hunter is one that I have marked down after, I think put on my Crunchyroll queue, after seeing you talk about it in one of your Getting Your Anime Groove Back panels. The problem is I never watch Crunchyroll because it's all I think it's mostly or all subtitled.
It's all subtitled because
they used to put some dub on
so
there.
I'm like, man, if I'm going to watch that, I have to devote my full attention then. So I never do.
Well, I get that. Sadly, Crunchyroll, because to run it as cheaply as they can, there's no way that you can do that and add dub since they don't put out their own discs.
Yeah, and I understand they do that. Hulu tends to have some dubs, but they'll usually have a mix, and a lot of shows it'll just be the first X number of episodes are dubbed.
It's usually whatever Funimation has allowed to be online, which
or
Funimation's or Viz. Funimation's side is actually pretty good because I've watched a lot of shows dubbed there, from start to finish. That's how I watched a certain Magical Index and a certain Scientific Railgun. Both of those just completely free.
Their site just constantly crashes and hangs up on me, though.
I haven't had any problems with it.
I've had nothing but problems with it. Whereas Crunchyroll, I'll have the occasional lockup, but usually a refresh will fix it, and I have not nearly issues.
Does Funimation have apps for different devices?
They do.
They have a Roku app.
Okay, but that's it?
They have a Roku app and a tablet app and a phone app.
Yeah, but the tablet app sucks because it doesn't go to full screen.
Oh.
It's still the size of the mobile version.
Well, see, that's kind of when you have problems with the website, that seems to be the workaround. If you're watching it on a PS3 or Xbox app, you kind of know what you're getting. It's not dependent on your computer. But
what's funny is that Crunchyroll has an awesome PS3 app.
They have a really good mobile app as well.
I'm not as big of a fan of their mobile app because their mobile app doesn't do HD. And now that my phone and tablet have higher resolutions than not HD, I'm picky and I notice it.
I'll be perfectly honest. I don't watch HD on computers. I don't subscribe to the services. I just watch the ads. But if I'm going to watch HD, I'm going to do it on a Blu-ray, with physical media. I'm not going to stream HD.
Oh yeah,
that's a personal preference thing, though.
I stream HD all the time. Oh my god, it's the best.
I watch whatever's on Netflix. If I'm watching something on Hulu, a lot of times I'll just I've got the desktop app and I'll just stick it on my second monitor and put on my headphones and then work on something else.
Yeah, I was about to say, Dylan, you part of your reason is probably the same reason I don't. I'm always doing something else. I never have it very rarely do I have a show blown up to full screen, and that's all I'm doing. When I was watching Attack on Titan, that's all I did.
And that's probably a problem with my attention span, as much as it is,
And that's what I use live action shows for, because they're not as important as my cartoons.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way. That's kind of the way I have. The reason I've avoided Crunchyroll, even some of the dubbed shows that I've got or that I've put on my queues, just man, I'm going to have to pay too much attention to that. Whereas most other things I can,
If you want a perfectly mediocre show to watch, might I recommend the wonderfully middle of the road Aria the Scarlet Ammo, which you'll watch it and then forget, regardless of how much attention you pay to it, you'll completely forget that you have consumed it.
That's what I do with most media. I mean, I remember I consumed it. I just won't remember what actually happened. So, and this is true with books as well. So,
like, I do that with most live action shows. The only live action show I will stop everything and just watch all of, for whatever reason, is White Collar.
I'm trying to find my way back onto the White Collar bandwagon. Like, I really did jump off when Neil's dad showed up. I'm like, because I kind of like it as a buddy cop show.
Right.
Like I like the interaction between Neil and Peter a whole lot. And when they started getting away from that, I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's actually partially my issue with this new season. Because I feel that even once they introduce the dad, they go back to that, the Peter-Neil dynamic pretty well.
Yeah. Like,
even throughout the end. But the wrinkles, the way that the last season ended and how they resolved it for this new season has inadvertently put more distance between the two of them. And I don't know if I like that.
Right.
But I really feel how they end up handling his dad. Actually, they end up doing it pretty well. Like, it wasn't, they could have done it a couple of different ways. And the way they did it, I felt, was one of the more interesting ways they could have done it.
Well, I think part of my problem is that a lot of shows do this, and even my beloved Burn Notice had a problem with this, where I think White Collar wants to keep revisiting is Neil really a good guy or is he a bad guy? Is he going to go back to being a criminal? They keep wanting to revisit it, even though they should just leave it alone and let the show be what it is, which is, former con and cop work together in solve cases.
Yeah.
Burn Notice kept wanting to go to, will Michael and Fiona get together? And they spent like the first part of, I don't know, like 3 or 4 seasons trying to jerk you around. And then they, kind of settled everything. It's like, okay, they're together. They're always going to be together. And then the last season, they couldn't resist doing it one more time. And I was like, guys, just stop. It's like you've had a surprisingly good run for being on the show for 7 years. It's like you're about to overstay your welcome. You're mercifully going off the air before you do that. Just stop with this shit. We already know how it's going to end. Just do what you're going to do. Commit to it.
At some point, I felt like Eureka kind of did that. Like, at first, it was all like sciencey, and there was this artifact buried under the, in the highest security level, and there was all this stuff going on. And then a couple of seasons in, I realized, like, no, this is just shipping different characters. Whatever.
Well, it's just like some shows are afraid that, if they have that initial, whatever it was that the show was originally about, if they resolve that too early, they're afraid that they're not going to have anything else to talk about. And I feel like, you have to answer those questions so the characters can evolve and grow.
Yeah, and I almost bring this back to anime. Like, I remember watching Naruto before it became big, because that was like, someone showed it at some get-together we had.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was like, wow, this is going to be all about, this kid and whether he can contain this fox demon and, what's going to happen. And it's like,
nope.
No, it's actually nothing like that. Okay. But no, I completely agree. Like,
but a show that handles that really well is a show called Hunter x Hunter. Well, Hunter x Hunter, it's one of those, it's an amazing little show because it starts off being this super, like, kid-friendly thing. And then later on, this current arc, for example, apparently Barry and Doug were having dinner with a friend. And they realized, oh, snap, we need to watch our 2 anime that they were really following. And the friend was like, oh, okay, well, what are we going to watch? Like, they're like, well, let's watch while we have dinner. And they look at the 2 different shows, and they go like, it's Attack on Titan or Hunter x Hunter. Let's choose Attack on Titan. It's a little easier to eat too.
No, it is not.
You've not seen this latest season of Hunter x Hunter.
Like I don't know what they're doing in Hunter x Hunter. Like if they're drinking each other's urine or something, but like there has to be some seriously fucked up shit to be like, oh, let's watch Attack on Titan while we're eating. That's easier to eat to than people being devoured by these giant retarded looking things.
Well,
by the way, how great are the Titans for fat people like me to cosplay? Because, like, just get a flesh-colored bodysuit and run around, all goofy-like with a goofy smile on my face. It was made for people like me.
We're not doing a cosplay group. I agree, but we're not doing a cosplay group.
It's also weird. Made for adorable little children.
Yeah.
Also wear the Attack on Cosplay masks and just go around being little children.
Right.
Which makes sense because it is a show designed for 12-year-olds. Believe it or not. I was talking to someone who went to AX, and there was an interview with the director of the show, and he apparently was flabbergasted. There were so many adult people that were into his show. He apparently was like, seriously, this is for like 12 and 13-year-old boys. Why are you all into this?
What's he trying to do to these kids, man? I mean, seriously.
Remember, he is just the director. He is not the mangaka, the manga creator who's making it. He's just directing it. But this tells you just
isn't the director the guy who directed Death Note?
Possibly, but Death Note's also Shonen Jump, once again designed to 12 and 13-year-old boys.
Well, okay, a show about, being a mass murderer, that's fine for 12-year-olds.
If they wanted to make a show for 20 to 30-year-olds, they would have put in brightly colored ponies.
Right?
Or just cute girls in general.
That is true.
Because Chobits is made for adult men.
It
is. Thank you, Carl Horde, for pointing that out. That Chobits, Ghost in the Shell, and Akira all ran the same magazine.
I do remember, like, I watched Chobits, whatever, with my roommates at the time, and I must have been in like my mid-20s or something like that. But now I go back and I haven't watched that show specifically, but going back and watching some of the shows I did at that time, now being over 30, just you get a better sense of how creepy some of these shows can be.
Oh yeah.
There's one I don't think I could watch. I'd be like, nope, done.
There's some goddamn.
I think maybe you just weren't paying attention. These are computers that are people that
It's entirely possible, but
like
I looked past it because the other elements were. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going for there.
I was young and stupid.
Let's turn this back around, away from Hunter x Hunter. Although that's great, you should watch it, Dylan. Who's hyped for the new J.J. Abrams TV show, Almost Human?
It looks somewhat interesting. It'll be difficult to get me to sit down and watch it, but I may try. I'm surprised I'm actually religiously watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., to be honest. But I may give Almost Human a shot.
Man, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is it's getting better, but I
don't know what it is. I am not bothered by any of the things that other people are bothered by about it. Like, not at all. I think it's a perfectly fine show. It's pretty much what I expected. I don't know that I'm going to lavish it with praise, but I'm also not going to damn it with criticism either. It's what it should be.
Yeah.
Well, I think it started off pretty rocky, and it's finally finding its footing. And they're doing what they need to do is start rolling out that D list of villains.
Well, I think that's what everyone wants it to be, but I'm sitting here thinking, I don't guess I had a lot of expectations for it to have a lot of Marvel characters to it. I was just looking at it as a sort of a companion, if you will, to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, okay, this is what everyone else is doing who's not, a superhero. It's like, this is what the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D. does.
Because you're doing that. Yeah, but the problem is because it's still in the Marvel Universe. I'm still going to expect, heroics. I'm still going to expect villains. And while they may not all have superpowers, I'm expecting more than just the average, like, cop drama or cop, crime procedural. I want something more than that because it's Marvel.
Well, I feel like they could do different things. Like the first episode was basically, the same MacGuffin as in Iron Man 3. In Iron Man 3, they play it up like, yeah, if you're not one of the special, beautiful people, you don't play with super science because it will go badly and you will turn into a villain. In this, you actually like feel for, the character who gets injected with
the centipede stuff.
Well, yes, because he needed to be, Luke Cage and one of the main characters.
No, not the I can't remember what's the stuff that makes you explode.
Right. No, that's what they used in the dude. Who eventually turns out he went bad, but he should have became Luke Cage. He should have been the awesome like African American
Power Man.
Yes, yes.
And then he and Iron Fist could have hung out and talk about how shitty Iron Fist is in Marvel.
What I was going to get to was like I would probably be okay with it staying away from, because then like if they bring in superhero type stuff, then I'm going to remember. Oh, right, this isn't like Warehouse 13, American Torchwood, whatever. This is superheroes.
But but it's Marvel.
I know, but...
I understand, but there are characters in the world of Marvel that are not superheroes.
And that's fine if they use them.
In fact, that's why they have all these, blockbuster movies for, is to tackle, everyone but Psylocke, apparently. Psylocke can't get her own movie.
Oh...
Yes, yes, Dylan. This again. Just sign Gemma Arterton on for this. It's going to be a crappy movie anyway. Let's get this done, Marvel.
I really feel that there is so much stuff in the Marvel Universe. There is plenty of things that they can dig into and make use of that aren't like the super big name heroes that don't have like the greatest powers in the world. But it's something more than just ordinary, and let S.H.I.E.L.D. deal with it. Because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be like a crack team of the best and the brightest dealing with things that the average, even FBI agent or CIA agent couldn't deal with.
Yes.
And I feel they are getting there. I mean, apparently Scorch was some random D-list villain previously in Marvel. Apparently, there's a gravity dude that apparently is in Marvel. So they're doing it. And also I'll point out that I don't even read Marvel comics, but I do feel that, if I'm going to watch Marvel's something, and even if it's just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I do expect more than just an average villain. I do expect something a little more, extraordinary.
I think that will be coming, in like seasons 2 and 3, however long it manages to hold on, which I think it'll do fine.
That and Sky and random male I'm awesome dude are really boring.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't remember, but I know Dylan was the one who retweeted this. Somebody talking about the Latisse twins from BioShock Infinite finding good work as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that too, and they decided to have two quirky scientists who just aren't. They're getting more different as time goes on, but they started off way too similar.
Well, that was kind of the joke, They referred to them as Fitzsimmons as if they were one person.
Yeah, I don't feel that it worked. I mean, it's getting better. But when it started off, I was like, what are you saying? You're going way too fast with your technobabble here, guys.
It's Joss Whedon. Everybody talks fast.
Yeah.
Well, I expect better out of my Whedon.
Well, you expected incorrectly.
Yeah, this is the guy who actually enjoyed Dollhouse overall, so go figure.
There's something I was going to say, and I can't even...
Yeah, I know. Anyone says that I enjoy Dollhouse, that usually is the response is, wait, what?
I never got around to watching that.
I didn't either.
I heard good things, but...
The first season was kind of done. The second season was really neat. But frankly, I'm kind of glad it ended where it did. Like, I feel that was the concept of what he was going for with it overall worked, as they might have been able to pull like a third season out of it, but not any more than that. Like, it was just, there was not enough meat on those bones to really dig into what, people were expecting out of that thing, which was another super large thing, epic, that you got cut off too soon. I thought, I think he designed that initially to not run that long.
Yeah, and that's, like, every TV show has that. That point of, like, you think you want more than this, but you don't. Trust me, you don't.
And I really like how everyone's, already casting glue and dew on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just because Joss Whedon's involved.
Yeah.
Because Firefly did poorly as far as getting more episodes made. Even though, the overall track record of Joss Whedon is not just Firefly.
Yeah.
Buffy ran for 7 seasons? Like, Angel ran for 5 or 6. The Avengers was one of the highest grossing movies ever.
Yeah,
and
this is not like Cowboys in Space.
Joss Whedon is not like, when he does something, it's not like auto failure. And I don't know why, just because Firefly did not get a second season, that means nothing will ever get a second season.
Everyone loves an underdog, a persecuted underdog.
Yeah, I feel real sorry for Joss Whedon and his millions, and his $billion movies, and all that shit. I feel real hard up for him that Firefly didn't run for 8 seasons.
Well, not him necessarily, but the fans want to feel like they are embattled.
Oh yeah, they're very persecuted with their movie that killed everybody off.
Indeed. All right, folks, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with more awesome Chainsaw Buffet cast.
Yeah.
And we're back. More stuff to talk about, I think.
Maybe.
You said you had questions.
Yes. When I sent out the awesome signal, Hisui from the Reverse Consultants,
The Reverse Cowgirls?
Ninja Thieves, from the Reverse Thieves. He was going to be on it, but I was like, I have to GM my D&D group. And so I was like, well, fine. I'm going to have the Chainsaw Boys. How about you just send me some tabletop RPG questions, and we'll answer them.
I think it's funny that we've got pegged as that, just because that tends to be what I talk about, and also Chad's segment is focused on that. Like, we're not just that, but it could be... Well,
when you decide to have a segment that's reoccurring, and it is about that, and you talk about it now every week.
Yeah.
You're going to become more known for it. Now, I also think about video games, as John tends to talk about video games in his segment. Maybe if perhaps you or, I don't know, Charlie had different things to talk about in your segments.
But the same thing. Like the same general topic.
Right. But your podcast would become known for more than just tabletop and the occasional video game talk. What I'm saying is, Dylan, you need to put up. Because I don't want you to shut up. I just need you to put up.
I don't know that I could talk about much outside of consistently every week, much outside of tabletop games, but I'll think about that.
Like, or just
I can't bore people any more than I already am.
You can have an entire segment devoted to Battlestar Galactica, the board game.
No.
He's already had 2 podcasts worth of it. Let's not. Anyways, okay, so here we go. Hisui's questions of the week. Number 1, Shadowrun 5th edition. Yay or nay? Yeah, Shadowrun question. Dama Shadowrun.
Basil, do you want to take this? Because I don't know anything about Shadowrun.
Me neither.
Okay, sadly, I still need to finish reading the Shadowrun 5th edition book. I got it right as class started for college this semester, and between that and getting ready for the mini-con and consistently trying to get a podcast up every other week and doing other like social things, I haven't had time. But I did spend $100 on the awesome leather-bound edition of the main book. So yes, I need tons of people to buy and play this game to validate my purchase. So I'm going to give that a definite yay.
Are there Tachikomas in Shadowrun?
Kind of. I mean, there aren't really AIs like the Tachikomas are. I mean, theoretically that could be possible, but there is definitely there's riggers that can control drones with their mind because of the they use it, they mentally control things via signals and whatnot. You could totally have a bunch of Tachikoma drones.
John, I still think you would enjoy Shadowrun Returns.
I might. I'm not saying I wouldn't.
It's a fun game.
I have no knowledge of it.
I had very little when I played it, so.
Shadowrun is, a modern, not modern day. It's a future cyberpunk setting that also incorporates a ton of magic. So you can have your guns and your cyberware and your elves.
Because why not?
Yeah, literally because why not?
It's kind of what, or it is one of the things that D20 Modern tried to be, I feel like. Between that and World of Darkness.
So, I know, I really enjoy Shadowrun. I love the world. It's probably my favorite setting to play in. And I will always buy Shadowrun. Never fail. And I really do want to, when I have time, read through the 5th edition book and actually do want to run a couple of games. And once I do run a couple of games, I will then actually talk about it more and give a better thing. Question number 2.
Numero dos. Question number B. Let's go.
Favorite type of characters to play?
Are we talking mechanics-wise or role-play-wise?
Let's do both.
Okay. I can go first, but if somebody else wants to, I don't want to
go
be
on
that
ahead.
All right.
I think both of us will have a lot to talk about. So.
Probably. I'll start with mechanics because I think that's an easier question for me to answer. I like to play characters with a lot of variety, and this is something I've talked about in Chains of Buffet. It's one of the reasons I like 4th edition, why I'm that guy. And one of the problems I always had playing with 3rd edition, which was, sort of the game that I came in with, is I like characters that have diverse skills in and out of combat. I like being able to do things like gather information, but also like sort of hybrid characters in games. I suppose clerics would be clerics or paladins would be a more traditional example, but I like characters like the sword mage in 4th edition, or the psychic warrior in 3rd edition, things like that. Because being a straight fighter, at least in 3rd edition, was incredibly boring because it's like, okay, I'm going to roll the dice 14 times. Did it hit? Okay, no, yes, roll damage, and that's it. And the warlord in 4th edition was one of my favorite classes because it was based around positioning and strategy, and it was a fighter that also had a support role. So like I said, I kind of like having a lot of different options and being able to be creative in combat and out of combat in that sort of way. In terms of role-playing and personality, I think it differs depending on the story. If the DM has a very clear idea of what the setting is, what the story is like, and if there's a way that I can, sort of make a little niche inside of the world and what's going on, I'll tend to be a lot more serious with my character choices in terms of personality and development. But if it's one of those things where it's like, everything's up to the players and there's not really a lot that's set in stone, I don't think I'm afraid to say that I don't mind fucking with people sometimes in D&D. As Dylan can attest to, I once played a character that his background was that he came from a noble family, but he sort of hated the a lot of the things that came with that, and he eschewed that lifestyle in to become an adventurer. But he also was sort of well spoken, and so he would go. There's one game where famously we were looking for some sort of artifact or something, but I knew that there were also other people that were looking for the same artifact, that were NPCs. So instead of asking around and asking person to person and chancing that, somebody might follow me as I'm getting this information, or, they might, somebody else might show up and be like, there's somebody that came here, an hour ago asking about this, and, giving somebody an advantage. My idea was, to organize a city dance in this little town, and Dylan was like, what the hell are you doing? But, the idea was to try and organize like a town festival and get everyone in one place. That way I could just ask everybody at once and then get the hell out of Dodge before anything would happen. So, like I said, it depends a lot on the game. If it's going to be serious, I'll take it seriously. If not, I might fuck around a bit.
All right. Dylan, how about you go? Because I have a feeling that my kind of answer is going to be a little different from y'all's.
All right. Mechanics-wise, I tend to like playing skills-based characters. Not necessarily always rogues, but like one of the favorite characters I played was a 3rd edition bard, mainly because...
Who didn't use bardic music.
Yeah. Mainly because I had both a lot of skills and I had a lot of utility spells. And because basically I don't want to walk into a situation and have my only two options be kill it outright or, diplomacy. Like I want to, make me think outside the box of the mechanics. Let me figure out how I can use these things to come up with different effects and solve puzzles. So in that sense, I usually end up playing, some sort of spellcaster. If it's a modern game, I'm going to end up playing like the tech guy. As far as role playing, it tends to be like I'll either play like the cleric or druid character just because like they aspire to something. Whether that is being the heroic self-sacrificing good character or just like the Zen like voice of reason, or kind of like the bard character. Playing the adventurer who just, he's not really in it for the gold, but, he's neutral good, chaotic good, gonna do the right thing. He just wants to see what's over that next hill. So yeah.
The reason why I mentioned that mine's probably going to be a little bit different from you two, and possibly a lot of other people, is that, to be honest, I have only ever finished like 3 sessions of D&D ever.
Did he say specifically D&D?
He didn't, but both of y'all used a whole lot of D&D terms. Yeah. And as I find that, because D&D tends to be what most people play. You know, by and large, when I talk to a whole lot of people that aren't me, and people that I play with, when people talk about role-playing, 9 times out of 10, it's D&D. It's
not that we play mostly D&D. We played a lot of 7th Sea, and in that I was playing like the swashbuckler character and things like that.
I think in 7th Sea you have to play a swashbuckler character.
Well,
I don't think there's another
like the
type.
sailor or the I did play a magician, but magic works differently. The idea is we tend to play more fantasy-based games as opposed to Shadowrun.
Well,
sorry.
I think it's also a case of mindset a little bit, where a lot of people have this D&D mindset, and I came from, while I played a lot of Shadowrun growing up, we played equal amounts of White Wolf. And so I grew up in a much more almost, mechanics or secondary story is more paramount.
Yeah.
Sort of growing up with role-playing. And so for me, when someone goes, well, is it mechanics or role-playing? And I realize I'm not sure if I have a difference. For me, they're pretty much intertwined. Where the mechanics that are for me is just as a way to express my character's role-playing is via the mechanics. And for example, if I play, because what I tend to play tends to be across the board. I can play all sorts of different things. Normally, when I'm learning a new system, I probably will go as simple as possible, just to start off with. So that tends to be a lot of fighter-type characters, right? And right now, the main character I'm playing in this Shintar game, which is Savage Worlds powered, I am playing this deposed king with an awesome giant warhammer, and he goes and does awesome giant warhammer things. But his big thing is he tends to have these long, like, dramatic action speeches that he does, explaining why the enemy is stupid and why they're awesome and they're going to win for the side of good. But alternatively, in another campaign of Shintar, because there's several, that's not a bad thing. Just he's got a bunch. I'm playing a druid range character, and for that one, I really looked around, and it was really, really weird because I had really major issues with the character because I had no clue how to actually play him. I just sort of was like, "Oh, we're playing a new game, okay?" And he goes, "Here, I have these pre-generated characters. Just pick one." And I'm like, "Oh, I've never done a ranged one or a druid guy yet." And after the third game of just sort of not having any personality, I looked around everybody and I saw all their personalities, and I thought to myself, well, what is this group missing? What is this group could use as a balancing agent to sort of put this group on its ear? A coward. What this group needs is a coward. Someone to go...
Yeah, that's what every group needs, is a coward.
Is someone to go, wait, we want to do what? Are you stupid? Oh my god, I can't believe we're doing... Okay, here we go. Oh god, now we're in it. Oh god. And so he was, so I switched out like a hindrance and made him like cautious. And everyone just turned around and looked at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, that's my character. He's a coward, kind of. And it's been kind of fun because as time has now gone on, he is becoming less and less and less cowardly because he's had to suck it up and get stuff done. which has now turned him into more of a lush. But, whatever.
Liquid Courage?
Yes. He, which I was using before I realized there was even an edge I could take with that. That was actually called Liquid Courage. So, I don't know. I guess for me, it's like I'll tend to pick characters that I feel will be interesting and different from what everyone else is playing, because I don't mind playing whatever. But then again, there are some times, for example, we're doing a superhero campaign, and my GM was like, "Whatever you want." I'm like, "Really? Yeah, whatever you want." And I thought about it, and I came back and went, "Okay, well, do you remember those old Japanese cartoon shows where the boy would pilot the giant robot with, like, his watch or a little box or something?" And he pauses and goes, "Yes." Well, what if the kid grew up and it was like his early 20s, but still had the giant robot? And he was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I am totally serious." And that character is a lot of fun to play.
I imagine it would be.
I tend to kind of do that, at least mechanics wise, as going, or what you did with the druid character. I'll go like, okay, what's everyone else playing? Literally, I don't care. I'll get into any. Mechanically, I can pretty much play any role and be happy with it. Well,
I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of D&D games, is that you have to conform to sort of the mentality of everyone else around you. So if you want to go like really deep into character and that sort of thing, everyone else has to be taking the game super seriously, and that's not going to happen a lot of times.
That's the problem I have. That's actually the problem I have a lot of times with running games. Is one, I have a hard time, like, the interaction will just wear me down trying to keep up with everyone and also stay in character. But also, I tend to be more of an explorer. So that's how I build my worlds. That's how I build my plots. I figure, okay, they're going to go, they're going to be pointed in this direction. So they're going to go walk in this direction and, just see what's out there.
And I'll be honest, that is not how I go about things.
Exactly.
I am not an explorer. I am a point A to point B guy. Do not give me a sandbox.
And that's, well, not necessarily even a sandbox, just, like, I will go out and scout something out before I will build a plan necessarily. Like an airtight plan. And I think, like, one of the best games we ever played was one where the DM, our friend Drew, basically, he built this world, and it was, a lot of it he was pulling from, like, magic lore and stuff like that. It wasn't like this high concept world, but it was very much like whatever we wanted our characters to do, he would kind of make sure we had that, but he would jump between, like, he would balance everyone's interests out so that everyone got what they wanted, but no one felt like, oh, well, this is a combat heavy game, so I'm just going to disengage, or, oh, this is a role playing heavy game, so I'm just going to disengage, which is really hard to do.
Yeah. That does kind of go back to, although, like you said, he did a very good job in that game of working around some of those limitations. That did kind of go back to a lot of, some of my third edition problems, because playing the character I played in that game had no, as far as just mechanics, had no useful abilities outside of combat. Just because that's the way third edition is. If you're a combat oriented character, you are not going to have any skills out of combat, which I really don't feel like that. I don't feel like that's a choice that should need to be made. I think you should, always have both of those types of things. But
I think he negated a lot of that by basically, like, even if we were overpowered, he held us back in some cases, and he did it in such a way that we didn't, or if we were underpowered, he would kind of make that more of a storytelling point. And I think that's kind of how, like, you only get to that style of DMing by, like, not being super, like, you care about your world, but it is not like your precious baby that you don't want anyone to touch and, change.
Yeah, and God knows we've been on the other side of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, those could be like, you need someone who can roll the punches, because if you want everything to work exactly the way you want it to, then you need to start making your own, like, video game campaigns.
Yeah.
Because at the nature of tabletop role-playing, it is, in the end, a group storytelling, a cooperative storytelling experience. And unless you let everyone, pitch in, it does not work. Which brings me to question number 3. Worst type of player character to play with?
God. There's so many. Like, there's really so many. And I'm happy to be the asshole in this conversation.
Go for it.
Because here's the thing. We're all guilty of doing, something, okay? But, I think a lot of times we tend to come back to the center, especially as we get more experience with things. But it seems like there's always somebody that, A, wants to make the entire session about them and their character. That's a thing that happens. But I think the thing that I find most frustrating are the player characters who don't take the game with the proper level of seriousness. And by proper level, I mean,
Any at all?
There's a difference between saying this is the most important thing ever and then just none of this is important, so I'm just going to dick around as much as possible. I mean, there are moments and times for that. I mean,
that's almost like the dark side of the Explorer sandbox experience of, like, you can play Grand Theft Auto as, doing any quest line you want to do, or you can, get a 5-star wanted rating and try to crash a tank into...
And we have known several people that are like that. That's like they want to do. They want to see how much they can get away with, including one person one time actually attacking my character because he was with, like, the City Watch or something. Which that did not work out well for that other person. I will say that. I
think. I can't remember who attacked first, honestly.
He attacked first because I had an ability that if he attacked me, it was a, like, instant counter, and if it hit, it just if I knocked you out with it, it just nullified everything you did. Because I was like, okay, because he was, I don't even remember what he did, but he did something that was obviously illegal. Something that my character would be required to act and say...
You guys were both trolling each other.
He's an asshole, okay? I'm an asshole, but he is, like, fuck that guy, okay? Fuck him.
At the core of it, again, tabletop role-playing is a cooperative storytelling experience.
Yes.
And if you're not willing to be cooperative, you need to not be playing. That is, I really feel that's like my big issue, especially are the guys who are like, well, I'm going to play a loner and I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be with everyone else because I'm a loner and that's what I do because that's cool. And that's like, that's fine if you were playing by yourself, but you're not. You're playing with the rest of the table here and you need to commit.
The problem is, like, when we played the most was in high school. For most of us was in high school and college. Which is where, like, everyone is in that stage of life where they want to be that. And so, like, you almost have to give people a few years to grow out of that, and hopefully they do. But
anyway.
But yeah, when you get guys who are just like, well, I'm going to go this stupid thing, right? That's cool, huh? Or even guys, who are loners or whatever. Like, it's always, or people like, guys, it's all about me. It just, in the end of the day, it's always people who are not being part of the group.
And let me go ahead and, because I can't harp on this enough. It's not just player characters either. DMs do this too.
It's true. It is very true. So let's spin that around. What is your worst type of GM to play with?
The so-called evil GM, like the adversarial, I want to screw you guys over. I want to see if I can kill the whole party thing. Because that's not the point. It is not DM versus party. It's a collaborative storytelling experience. And if, as a DM, you don't care about me or my character or the story that we're trying to build as a group, why do I care about playing in your game? Like, so you can try and get one over on me? I mean,
I don't know. I think a lot of people who go down that road start out trying to challenge their players, which is a good thing. But it's almost like a lot of these people think that, if they have someone who is acting out or who is power gaming or something like that, that this is the proper way to fight it. Similarly, a lot of people think that the proper way to deal with an evil GM is to try to beat him at his own game. And the problem is, in both cases, you're just making things worse.
Well, again, it's just one of those.
Yeah, you can't view it as adversarial.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also a difference between trying to make things challenging and trying to be mean.
Yes.
For example, in our most epic of Shinetar campaigns, where I'm playing my awesome hammer-wielding king, we are like way past the normal, level cap, as it were, for Savage Worlds. We're well into past a level 100 experience characters. And so our GM, Sean, really has to go out of his way to think of both powerful and interesting ways to challenge us. For example, he let my character is technically immortal at this point. I am a demigod. I have regeneration out the wazoo, and unless someone burns me to a crisp at one go, or pulls a Highlander decapitating on me,
you're OP like Superman.
My character is going to he will come back. It might take a turn or two, but he'll come back. And so he figured out a way to use guys partially at melee and partially at range, and make me stop. And I have to, he was pecking at me, where suddenly I have all these I have counterattack and this and that, or first strike. And if he can get me to what they call shaken, which is the first level of damage, I can't counterattack. And so he would constantly just poke at my character just enough so that I couldn't immediately do first striking, so I can't get all my initial attacks off. Because that's usually how I would clear the board. Was I'd stick my character to a choke point, let them all come to me, and I would just whack them all down before he had a chance to really do anything to me. And so he figured out this way to sort of alternate his villains, his bad guys, so that I couldn't just lay waste to everything. And it was interesting, and I had to think around, well, how am I, all right, this is a tactic. It's a good tactic. It totally beats what I normally do. Now how do I work around that? And that was a lot of fun. But he wasn't just okay, and now normally y'all are level 50, so here's a level 100 thing. It was interesting. It wasn't just F you.
Yeah. I'll be honest, the way I'd want to be challenged is not so much in terms of make me think outside of combat and literally give me a problem I cannot solve by sheer numbers alone, or sheer strategy alone, or sheer positioning. And crap, I forgot what I was going to say. Someone else take it.
Babushka! Well, tell you what, we can move on to number 4. Worst and best session ever.
Oh, God.
I'll start off with worst. Because this is partially was in my fault, too. Because it was during a time where me and my group at the time were experiencing severe tabletop burnout. But none of us quite realized we were experiencing burnout. We had, and unfortunately, it started off with me where I was running a Final Fantasy-based role-playing game. And I was using a fan-made Final Fantasy role-playing tabletop system, which does a really good job of replicating like the Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI experience as a tabletop game. The downside to it is that you don't have that many different. They're all like you have like 5 attacks, but you just have these 5 attacks,
right?
And the game kind of when the battles actually play out, they play out like a Final Fantasy game, which turns out is not as much fun as a role playing game as you'd think.
Nope.
Yeah.
But the other problem was that I pulled up what I refer to as a Final Fantasy 13. Where I had this idea for a campaign, but did not get to actually make use of this idea for this campaign until several years later. And instead of taking the core ideas of it and rewriting a brand new campaign, I tried to go off what I was planning to do originally, but I never wrote anything down. I just was thinking about it. And when I went to some of the bigger like plot reveals, I realized I had gotten it all wrong. I had totally forgotten what I actually meant to do, and did this other thing that was close, but not quite it. And it turns out that was a much worse idea than what I originally had.
So it really is like Final Fantasy.
Yes, especially the later ones. And it just,
you needed the quality assurance group that they've formed now.
Oh God, yeah,
that they conveniently left it to Nomura off of. He's not in the cool kids club.
Like, yeah, they're the quality assurance group of all the guys that have been effing it up so far lately. Okay, sure, whatever. But yeah, like I screwed up and didn't realize I had screwed up until much later, until they pretty much voted me off the island. We're like, God, Basil, this is just turning into a really bad game. We need to play something else. And I was like, oh. And I looked back and went, wow, you're right. I'm sorry, guys. So that was my worst, was me actually screwing it all up for everybody. But I guess I can also give my best one, which also was a Final Fantasy-based game. It was actually my first one. Where this is still the same rule set, but it's an earlier version of it. But we were much younger, and we were much less caring about the rules. We kind of took the rules and went, okay, well, this is sort of how it works. That's good enough for us. And so it was a little bit more carefree, a little bit more GTA, as it were. But everyone was okay with that, so it worked out. But I had successfully had one of my main NPCs move everyone around and do everything they wanted to do. They thought they were winning until the last moment we goes, haha, no, I am actually the main villain. And I got them. I got all of them. They were all like, what? And they go, yes. And then I point out several times where I led them doing different things. They're like, holy crap, you got us. And I'm like, yes, I did that. Ha ha.
I was going to say, I don't know if this is my best, but because like, it's been a while since we have honestly had a regular game going. But the best I remember in recent memory was, our friend Jeffrey was for his bachelor party. He just wanted to hang around and play D&D. And let's see, he was a druid who could change shape into an animal. I can't remember what you and Drew were, John.
God only knows. Anyway.
But I just remember we were playing through Keep on the Shadowfell because this was like kind of sprung on me, and I was kind of like, oh crap, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to run this. But you guys were approaching the Dragon Burial Ground, which is like the second encounter. I think that's as far as we got for the night. But man, the way you guys approached it, like you literally could have gone in. It was nighttime. You could have rolled an entire camp of goblins or kobolds or something. But you snuck in. It was really like it just worked perfectly because everyone took a different role. Jeffrey was the wolf, running around close to the camp, and using that to kind of cover his tracks and, keep them from suspecting anything. I think like one of you was the scout. It worked so perfectly. And it was, again, one of those cases of thinking outside the box, not just going, well, I'm going to roll sneak. And, it was a lot of good synergy.
Yes. What about the worst? I'm interested to know what your response to this will be.
I can't think of any, like, if I went back to some of the games we played in college, I'm sure I could, and the couple of years thereafter, I could probably think of just better sessions that I've completely forgotten. They've kind of all run together. I will say the session where you and Brandon got in the fight was pretty bad. And I think what the problem was I could clearly, like, I can't remember how many sessions of that game we played, but I could clearly see it happening beforehand. I was just like, I'm just going to assume, like, this will all work out and these guys will be civil. And
nope.
It did not. And I should have done something as DM that, I should have brought my foot down and, put some sort of inciting incident or stepped outside the rules and, like, made that not happen. But I didn't, so.
Well, it was, I'll be honest, like, he did a lot of the provoking, but I wasn't exactly upset about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I made you part of the City Watch. He and Devin were, like, halflings, and they were doing, illegal cockfighting or something like that.
Yes, and it was totally random, like, had nothing to do with the story. Brandon just wanted to, have a fucking cockfighting ring.
I mean, it was kind of goofy. And Charlie and Chad, I think Charlie was the guy who worshipped the drowned god, and Chad was like the half fish man. Yes. And so it never quite came together. Everything I felt was interesting. It just, yeah, never really went anywhere except horrible places.
Yeah.
I'm if I really thought about this, I'm sure. Let me just say, I'm pretty sure I know who's DMing for any answer you would probably consider.
Yes, you do.
Oh
my God.
Do I know this person?
Hell no.
Oh, thank God.
No, this person has been long gone as far as any of us are concerned. But here's a gentleman who, as we alluded to, thought his games were precious and wonderful and, should all work out exactly as he is foretold in the secret Dead Sea Scrolls. But I remember this wasn't even like the first game he ran. I remember there was one time though where we were playing in, it was some sort of like almost Western type setting, but with fantasy elements. And we were all sitting around in one of the dorm rooms. And he went out to go to the bathroom or something. And somebody, I don't even remember who it was now, like, put his game notes in a drawer. And apparently his game notes had, like, all this crap laid out, you know, for, like, future settings and stuff, because, you know, he planned everything out and was really anal retentive about the whole thing. But he comes back in, and because somebody actually touched the notes and moved them, he started accusing us of actually cheating and reading ahead. Just like out of the blue, nothing had even happened yet. And he started making all these accusations about, you know, us cheating and stuff. And I got super pissed because I was already tired of him for, you know, a lot of other crap that he was doing. And like, nobody even, you know, fucking looked through it. But, you know, because we dared to touch the holy works that he had scribed down in his notebook passed down from the sages. You know.
I think that was another case of, especially because like he was kind of spearheading this attempt to start a role-playing club, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that at a private Christian college where it was technically Methodist, but most people were Baptist.
Yes, there was the South.
There was a lot of conflict over the fact that we were playing in the campus ministry center, and I think we were trying to grow the group. And I think one of the biggest problems we had there was he was definitely the type of GM that instead of like stepping back and going, okay, I can't, you know, like this group isn't working, whatever, I'm going to go over here and DM, you know, I'm going to play, whatever. I feel like he tried to resolve those problems in game, which, as I said before, does not work.
Nope. Best though, wow. I don't know.
Don't worry, none of them could be with me yet, so they don't could really be the best.
There's that.
So don't worry, don't feel too bad.
You say right? Yet? Is this a thing that?
I think it's a thing that needs to happen.
Like I promise you, one day I'm going to figure out a time one day where I can either cart Sean and me, some other people up, or cart y'all down, and we're going to have a game of Shine Tower, and it's going to be fun.
Sounds. I like this plan. So it's kind of the thing where there's a lot of neat stories from stuff that everyone's done, like the time Dylan annihilated the T-Rex with a miracle spell, which was really cool. But in terms of stuff that I myself have done, and me, it's all about me, and I'm the best. One thing that always sticks with me is Charlie ran an Eberron campaign. I think it may have been the very first one I ever played in. And Eberron has a race that, you know, when I first saw it, I thought was eminently interesting, called Changelings. You know, they're basically doppelgangers, but, you know, there's limitations as to how their shape changing works. But, you know, it can be a pretty effective tool. And an example of this is that I forget what it was, but we were supposed to like get into a party which was invitation only, and which naturally we didn't have invitations for. So my character started a elaborate series of events in which it was a changeling rogue. So I picked someone's pocket and stole their invitation and posed as them and got everyone else into the party. But I did not stop there, because once in there, the whole thing was, I think we were supposed to take part in some sort of, you know, like treasure hunt, you know, and there would be other competing groups looking for the same treasure. And, you know, once we were in the party, you know, Charlie was kind of going about describing some of the various, you know, groups that we would be facing against. So I started transforming as people from the other groups and started shit, you know, with like the rival groups, you know, like I'd pretend to be one member and talk shit with, you know, somebody from a different group, and then be somebody from that group and talk shit to the other group. And then the other groups were all fighting each other while we, you know, kind of got a head start.
Wow. I do remember that. And that, I don't know, Eberron was very pulpy like 7th Sea, and that seems like a thing that could have happened in one of those games as well.
Eberron was one of those settings that I thought was really neat when I got the chance to read about it. I was kind of sad that I got to play one session, half a session of Eberron. I'm like, this is cool, and then we never really played it again, and I was kind of sad.
I like Eberron. I kind of wish we did play it more often, but I don't feel like I know enough to really run a game. Like, most of my knowledge is Forgotten Realms based, so...
I don't know. I think it especially when we played it, it was new enough that I didn't
It didn't matter.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not screwing up a bunch of existing lore, so whatever. I don't know, man. It does make me think. There were a couple other games we played when Chad was running Tales from the Floating Vagabond with
those
BDSM.
were good. Those were
good.
good.
So many of those were good. So many of those were also bad, but even the terrible things where the game got completely out of Chad's control, like now I can look back at it and go, no, that was still awesome.
Yes, it was. God, wait.
And he had so many great ideas. Like when we were in the, we ended up in the 50s TV sitcom and ended up corrupting it in ways that he didn't expect.
Or the time where what's his name played Satan.
Yes.
Which I think I ended up incinerating him.
I think we ended up killing him multiple times.
Yes.
And the problem was, I think it happened the first, I think everyone just piled on him.
We're all
the
kind
first
of done
game.
at that point.
And Chad was like, this character is really interesting. I'm gonna give him resurrection and bring him back. And it was just at the time it was a great idea. Later
in
on,
retrospect,
not so much.
Yeah.
So when he started, because I remember in the 50s sitcom world, he's like, his idea was, I'm gonna be evil and have mind control powers, but I'm gonna be bad at it. Except he wasn't bad at it
at all.
I believe he ended up getting people to do horrible, unspeakable things in the 50s sitcom world.
Sounds about right.
Still, it was hilarious.
Anyway,
So,
do we have more questions?
no, it was just the 4, but I think we got pretty good mileage out of those 4 questions.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I think we did a good job, guys. Before we wrap this up, because I think we recorded plenty long.
Oh, yes.
I do want to mention that the Bubblegum Crisis Ultimate Edition Blu-ray set Kickstarter is a go. It is going on right now, and will be going for at least another 25 days when we release this episode. It is the original Bubblegum Crisis that Animigo is putting back out, and they're doing some really neat things with it. They're saying after all their Kickstarter funding expenses are done, and everything, and they get all their stuff paid for, they're doing a 50-50 split with the proceeds with them and the Japanese licensor, which is actually a better deal than for the Japanese side they normally would get, because they're also getting they're already paying all their fees and stuff to acquire the stuff to be able to do this Blu-ray and period, and still the Japanese is getting half of whatever they have left. So that's not a bad deal at all.
And plus, it's the good Bubblegum Crisis, not that shitty Tokyo 2040
yes.
crap.
And in fact, if you want, the OSMcast, we did a Bubblegum Crisis episode way back. Way back. In fact, so way back, I believe that was the episode that I realized that I had never actually included in the Index of Awesome. So when we were doing our 100th episode, it turns out it was our 101st episode.
Good job, Basil.
Yeah, go me. But
this is
it's
why,
in there now.
I know we don't number episodes,
I was
by the
going
way.
to say, yeah, I don't think we have any place to make fun, because there's probably It's probably something we've done like
well,
that.
in the end, it works out because I still call it Awesome 100. You know, it's still the 5 years of podcasting and the OSMcast, so it's still a retrospective of all the previous 100th episodes. So it still kind of works. I can't really call it the 100th episode, even though I still am. I'm just going to go with that because I said it, so I'm going to stick with it, just like that racist guy from the Republican group.
Which one?
Oh,
There was
on the Daily Show, and he did this spot where he's like, I can't remember what he was talking about. He was like, it was voter ID, I think. Like,
yeah,
I don't think a bunch of lazy frat guys. I don't think a bunch of whites. I don't think a bunch of lazy black people or something.
Yeah, that was the specific line where he pretty much went, yeah, we're doing this to fuck with the Democrats. Like, he straight up said that. He said, we're doing these voter laws to to make sure the Democrats can't get as many people vote. They can't have issues getting their stuff voted in.
I think what the thing that was so controversial that he said, it was one of those cases where he made a generalization about a group of people, and then he attempted to backpedal by saying, oh no, I'm just talking about the lazy people within that group, not the whole group, even though it was clearly a generalization.
Yeah, it was good, but then he instead of like trying to really backpedal, he resigned and was like, yeah, I meant every word I said. Which I kind of had to, props to you for, saying that, but, saying that, yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you? But I'm glad you're standing up for what you believe.
Even if what you believe is a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Anyways, it was show number 32 was our Bubblegum Crisis episode way back on December 29th, 2008. Man, that was like 5 years ago. Holy crap.
I remember those times. They were simpler times. They were better times.
I don't know. Times now could be pretty good too.
I don't even think I was hosting then.
So there you go. Bubblegum Crisis. There is a Kickstarter. You can, for $50, you will get a copy of the Blu-rays and all the extra stuff that they can, get in there. And it's all the all like 6 episodes. I want to say there's 6 episodes, I think. 6 or 8. But they're also including like all the music videos they did and a live action video that was shot. Like the live action video, since there's no like awesome version that is HD, like you'll just get an up conversion. But they're even going for, they had this thing called Hurricane Live animated music videos, which are like AMVs but cut by like the actual people who like made the show. And what Animigo is going to do is they're going to recut them using the HD video themselves. So, which I think is a really, neat thing they're doing because they don't have to do that, but they're doing that. And it's just one of those things that, you'd only see in something crazy like a Kickstarter. Like, we'll do it if we get the money for it. So I thought that was really neat. So any final thoughts before we wrap this up, guys? This crazy, avant-garde OSMcast.
Meandering.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us on. It was a lot of fun.
Well, no, thank you, guys. About this would have been me trying to ramble for like an hour, and that would have been terrible.
Well, you probably would have gone as long as we went. And I think, like we said during the second break there, that, man, like it took me a while to get warmed up and into it.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us, folks.
Yeah, like if you're here, good on you. Cause
God bless you.
You had to wait around for like an hour to get to that game.
We Final Fantasy 13 the hell out of this podcast.
Oh, now I feel bad.
I'm clearly the lightning of the group.
As long as none of us are like Snow.
Right. Or Hope.
I don't know.
Or Saz. Or wait, no, they're all fucking awful. I forgot. Lightning was the only character I liked in that game.
Hey, at least you're getting a whole game with just her.
I am so thrilled about this. I really am. Plus, she is one of the nicest people. Like, Allie Hillis is so nice. I like her a lot. Anyway, please do check out our podcast. We've gone weekly. over at chainsawbuffet.com. Also recently posted an interview with actress Courtney Taylor from Resident Evil, regular show, and Mass Effect, among other works, which that was a lot of fun. And we'll be recording another podcast this weekend on Sunday, and probably put it up the same day as you, if not sooner, depending on when Basil gets around to doing this thing, because sometimes he forgets.
But you shut up.
He can hear you,
You shut up.
I know he can hear me. That's why I said it.
Look, last time it got up before I went to bed. That counts. That counts as on time.
Well,
I'm not going to argue with you there. I mean, if both of our podcasts are going to do this weekly thing, that's going to have happen sometimes.
Well, admittedly, we are still every other week here at the OSMcast. Not weekly. You guys are crazier than we are.
Well, okay. If we're going to do this regular thing.
Okay, I'll give you that. But, we also are crazy enough that we have a sign now on the side of our website that tells you how many we've done in a row. And I will admit that is probably what pushed me to make sure I got this done tonight. Because otherwise, like, I'll wait. It's just another week. But now I'm like, well, no, because then I have to put it back down to 0. And I'm already up to 3. I want to go up to 4 now. This is, I'm accountable. And that has actually, changed things where I'm like, well, now I got to do it. But, you guys are doing it every week. That is awesome dedication. And you've been doing a great job pulling that off as well.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
So yeah, you can find, the Chainsaw guys at the chainsawbuffet.com. Please check them out. Send them emails of good or bad things. Rate them on iTunes. Rate them well. Download them. Listen to them. You can find here at the OSMcast, which I assume you've already found as you're listening to us. But the website is awesomecast.com. You can email us at awesomecast@gmail.com. Unless you have complaints, then of course it is podcast at chainsawbuffet.com.
Yes, please do.
You know what's hilarious about your pointing out the rating us on iTunes? I don't think we've ever mentioned that on our podcast. And when I was going back through and listening to the Awa podcast that we did, and you mentioned that, I'm like, I wonder what our rating is. And I realized that our iTunes link on our site was like the old version of iTunes back before you could get to, back before you can open up something in a web browser, and it was like, oh, you have to open this up in iTunes
because fuck
Apple, right?
Right.
So I actually fixed that link because of you, Basil.
Awesome.
Thanks,
I need to see if my link's right or wrong. I don't know. Anyways, you can also rate the OSMcast on iTunes. Please do. We need ratings. That's how we get up in the world and more people will actually listen to us. Why? I don't know. You did. You liked it. Maybe other people do too.
we could collude. If you've got a podcast, we can rate yours. You can rate ours. And
hey,
OSMcast.
You guys are probably friends of one of the podcasts.
It's true.
That's how this works.
Every podcaster knows a podcaster that knows every other podcaster.
Also, you have your friends, and your friends listen.
No, they don't. My friends don't
that's true.
Listen.
That's true. He's right. They don't. My friends don't listen to this either.
The listeners we have are our friends.
That's
Come
true.
from that group.
Well,
they are a
true.
subset of that group.
But if you're another podcaster,
any of them to retweet anything.
But if you're
Facebook,
guys, shut up! I'm talking here. I'm important. I'm important. This is my special diamond.
Go ahead.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyways, I am looking to start also posting, since we are now getting more regular here. We're taking our Ovaltine.
Yep.
We are, I want to start putting promos for other podcasts in. So if you're another podcast and you want to send a promo our way, send us an email, awesomecast@gmail.com, and we will get you in a promo into the actual feed so they can listen to you while they're listening to me, us.
Are you going to mix that into your episode, or are you just going to put that as a like an RSS entry?
No, it'll be mixed into the actual episode.
Okay.
What we used to do was before the actual, like we would do, introductions and then moments of awesome. Then I would say a word from our sponsors or another podcast, play the promo, and then we'd go into the actual thing that we're talking about for that episode. And that's probably what we'll do. We'll continue to do that because I think it's a good spot right near in the sort of the middle for the promo. And so if you're interested in doing that, please send me an email and we will trade promos. We still have some of our old ones here at the OSMcast, and we'll get going.
I think we need to work on a promo, but that sounds like work. So
I was about to say though, like we could totally do the same thing. I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
promos are neat. I like promos because it makes me feel like I'm actually part of a podcast community more than just like, yep, I got friends, but it's they're playing my promo, I'm playing their promo, we're all patting each other's backs, getting a good circle jerk going on. It's good times.
Technically legitimate, networking,
cross promotion.
Yeah,
technically legitimate.
Semi-legitimate.
But anyways, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us.
I think plenty of people have listened to us for plenty long now. So
we're so sorry.
Thank you everyone for listening, sticking through it. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. And with that, we are out.